Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tuloyani. Let me just bring you something. This afternoon, the story of Cecilia Tapiwa Gandize. Miss Gandize is a 47-year-old lady from Zimbabwe. She's Zimbabwean born. Apparently, she became a South African citizen around 2016-2017. Because she's 47 years old, that is almost, let us say roughly, that is about 10 years ago. So she became a citizen of South Africa when she was about 37, 38 years old. This lady recently came before the Judicial Services Commission and was interviewed for the position of a labor court judge. Now, I'm not even looking into those judicial service interviews. I'm just looking at the storm that this whole issue has raised in South Africa about a Zimbabwean becoming a judge in South Africa. You see, she's in a rather unusual situation because people want to think of her as a Zimbabwean because she's Zimbabwean born. But then there's this issue again that she became a South African, I think probably by naturalization, in 2016 and 17. But you see, the perception throughout social media is people are not happy with her because people are saying, why get a Zimbabwean to be a judge of the labor court when there are capable South Africans who can easily fit that bill or do that job? It has raised a lot of, this issue has raised a lot of issues. This issue has raised a lot of, controversy because you see also it fuels xenophobia. And xenophobia is a very serious problem in South Africa today. Ordinary South Africans feel that people are coming from outside to take positions which they are looking forward to getting. In other words, foreigners coming to South Africa take their jobs, to put it bluntly. Now, in the case of this lady, curiously, you see a perception that nobody wants to treat her like a South African. You see this storm over her focuses on the fact that she's Zimbabwean born. And as far as that narrative goes, because she's Zimbabwean born, she's a Zimbabwean. This acquisition of citizenship some 10 years ago, for many people, is not an issue at all. For many people, she remains a Zimbabwean. Now, there have been a lot of, incidents of xenophobia in and around South Africa. Xenophobia, like I'm saying, is a serious problem in South Africa today. Now, the issue that I want to address is, do we treat her as a Zimbabwean because she's Zimbabwean born? Or are we supposed now to say to ourselves, let us forget about the fact that she's Zimbabwean born. She has acquired South African citizenship, uh, and therefore, are we going to treat her as a South African? To the ordinary man and woman in the street, citizenship goes along with the notion of being born in a country. You see, that is how the ordinary man perceives citizenship to be. That, I am a citizen of South Africa now because I was born in Sharpeville. If, for instance, I'd been born in Egypt and had acquired South African citizenship, there would still be that perception that I am not, a born South African. I'm not a fully fledged South African. There's that Egyptian in me, by virtue of the fact that perhaps I was born in Egypt. I'm just making that example to you. So this is the dilemma that we see. And people do not reconcile the two. You see, they find it very difficult to move away from the fact that she's a Zimbabwean. She has a Zimbabwean surname, she has got, well, what some other people call a Zimbabwean accent. Don't you ask me what a Zimbabwean accent is. But they say she's got a Zimbabwean accent and she's obviously a foreigner. So in their eyes, that act of acquiring South African citizenship really amounts to nothing. Really amounts to nothing. So I've talked about xenophobia. I've said things like this to a certain extent, fuel xenophobia. People come from a xenophobic, perspective to say, well, foreigners are running amok all over the place. And in certain instances, or to a certain extent, that is true. Because in my own experience, I've realized that a lot of people from Southern Africa, in and around South Africa, happen to be highly educated. That is a fact. You look around, you'll see that a lot of them have got degrees and postgraduate degrees and qualifications like that. And it becomes very easy for them to compete with the ordinary South African. Pound for pound, they are better educated. This we have to acknowledge. So it places them in a rather favorable situation when it comes to jobs, because jobs go with education. The more education you have, the better your chances of getting the job that you want. So I just want us to look into this issue and say to ourselves, is this justifiable? Is she a Zimbabwean or is she a South African? Of course, the law says she's a South African because otherwise the Judicial Service Commission would never have been interviewed her. And I think one of the commissioners, I think more than one commissioner, inquired into her citizenship. And she confirmed that, I think on 2 occasions, that she's a South African citizen. So tell me, what do you think about this issue? I think it's interesting. What do you think? Do you think that it was proper for the JSC to interview her and, and consider her for the position of a judge? Or do you think because she's Zimbabwean born, she should have been disqualified from the process? Because, the strange thing is the law allows it. The law says you must be a South African. And it doesn't say how you acquire that South African citizenship. But you be the charge of this. You be the charge of this. You know, this is a very emotive issue. People are very emotional around it. So let us discuss it and see what you think. Having said that, let me thank you for watching this video, and please have a nice day.